right, welcome everybody to the October 23rd meeting, Health and Education Committee meeting. Our first order of business is to approve the minutes.
Madam Chairman, I've reviewed those minutes. I find them in order and move that they be approved as presented.
Thank you.
Second.
Very good. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Very good. All right, your health department report is on your iPad. Ms. Garrett, unfortunately, is under the weather and was not able to be with us tonight. I've looked over that. I didn't see any significant changes, but I did tell her that if you all had any questions, I'd be happy to ask them and report back to the committee. So does anybody have anything they'd like for me to discuss with Ms. Garrett, or any questions you've got about it on the report?
Move to accept the report as presented.
Very good.
Second.
Very good. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Very good. All right, community care report is also on your iPad. Ms. Cook, you have anything on that you want to share with us? Looks like-
It's doing real good.
Yep, looks like they're doing well. All the positions are filled, she says, on the
Mhm.
report.
We're still working on getting our 5 stars back,
Okay,
so
making progress though.
making progress. We're 3 now, and I was thinking we had made it to 4.
But that wasn't, we don't know that for sure. That wasn't in that report, but we looked
No,
for
it
it.
wasn't in the report, but pretty close to it.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
Good, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Very good. All right, special projects. Ms. Nolan is our Miss Jolly for the night.
It's jolly tonight.
Oh, that's true.
Okay, so you've got the report before you. Just presents to you all the projects that are in process, and there's really no new projects to report, and it's just a continuation report.
Everybody should have received this in advance. Are the new commissioners, are you all getting it in advance? You have time to take a look at it? Everybody? Okay.
Kind of get tired looking at it, you know, how many things we've got going.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
But it is good. It gives us a kind of a pulse of where everything's at.
That, and it also gives you kind of a lot of history, you know, because we do keep these reports, and it's interesting when people call back and say, how much did we bill Siegel High School for?
Right.
You know?
Right.
We've already got the information.
All right, if there's no questions, I'll entertain a motion.
One question, Madam Chairman, the school board on the agenda is looking to move some money around. Does that coincide?
Projects. It will be after it goes the approval, then we will make the change.
Does it coincide with the information that you have on here and everything?
Yeah, we do. Of course it does. Yes.
That's really good.
Yes, we prepare this report, and Jeff's got people that monitor
Yeah.
and throw flags if
We have checks and
if
double
there's
checks.
a difference that they think it should be, then, yeah,
So
we're coordinating.
we've compared the two and.
Yes.
Okay.
I was on the phone with Lisa. In particular.
I move to approve.
Good question. Was there a question then?
Yeah, I do. Is Rockville, is it on budget?
Rockdale High School? Yes.
Okay. That's all I have.
And I don't know if Ms. Jolly ever talked to y'all, but as you're looking at these reports for the new commissioners, this is what you're looking at, not obligated. You know, if something is contracted, that purchase orders have been issued, contracts have been let, anything expended, checks have been written, so there's support behind everything that is expended. The not obligated is just your difference between your amended budget and your contracts. So as you're looking, particularly when the school board is wanting new projects, you can look to see, well, where are we on some of these? You know, can we move some of these? However, Jeff is already, you know, probably a step ahead of you, already looking at what monies and projects that we have that we're not using that we can move. So, but that's just a little helpful hint for y'all to be looking at that.
Motion to approve?
Very good. I'm sure it's seconded.
No, well, we already.
Oh, we already have a motion.
Phillips and-
Oh, we already had it. We're already good.
I need to-
Yep.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, school board. Welcome all. Thank you, everyone. Of course, knows Mr. Sandvig and Mr. Spurlock. This is Mr. Lee's first time up here, Trey Lee, our new Gary Clardy. Not so new,
Been
but
called
new.
worse, hasn't he?
Yeah, been called worse.
Okay.
We're ready for you whenever you're ready.
All right, Building Program Budget Amendment Fund 189. The Building Program Amendment cleans up line items within existing projects that you will find in the yellow columns. And it moves funds from the completed and nearly completed projects to other projects that you will find in the blue columns. No new funds are being requested. The line item amendments are as follows. Oakland Middle Annex, $2,090,825. Rocky Fork Elementary, $5,690,804. David Urey Addition, $29,820. Smyrna Middle Renovation, $159,095. Rockville High School, $7,055,919. Siegel High Addition, $323,000. Eagle New Highway 99 entry, $9,700 for a total of $15,359,163. The large amendments primarily move budgeted construction dollars to site development. When a new project is approved, the construction dollars include both construction contract and site development. The amount to charge to site development is uncertain until the contract has been awarded and we worked out with the architect and the contractor. We combine these two pieces initially and amend when we have a good idea of the amount. Existing funds completed projects to other projects. Rocky Fork Middle, $505,816. David Urey Addition, $59,198. Smyrna Middle Renovation, $70,474. Total existing funds to other projects, $635,488. Projects receiving the existing funds. Rocky Fork Elementary, $287,333. Siegel High Addition, $11,419. Rock Springs Elementary Addition, $10,944. New secondary project, $325,792. Total projects receiving existing funds, $635,488. At Rocky Fork Elementary, we had to issue a change order up to $1,300,000 due to adverse soil conditions. It came in at $1,179,381. We would have faced this change order regardless of which contractor received the bid. R.G. Anderson was in bid at $1,780,000 under the second lowest bidder. We thought it would be prudent to use the existing elementary funds from Rocky Fork Middle to cover part of this cost. It is still early in the project, but we are hoping to cover much of this additional cost within the existing budget. Recommend a motion to amend $15,359,163 in line item adjustments within the already budgeted construction projects to amend $505,816 from Rocky Fork Middle project, $59,198 from the David Urey Addition, and $70,474 from the Smyrna Middle Addition to the following projects with a total of $635,488 as presented. Rocky Fork Elementary, $287,333. Siegel High Addition, $11,419. Rock Springs Elementary Addition, $10,944. And the new secondary project, $325,792.
Let's take a motion and then we can go for discussion.
Motion to approve.
Second. Okay. Any questions or discussion?
It would look like we're parking $325,792 for whatever comes up. We know that
Right.
that's going to come up. So out of this $325,000 being just basically parked, if I understand right on this overage at Rocky Fork Elementary from previous conversation, it is in part due to the change in design. We're going from The original concept was a single-story elementary at the time the property was bought and the concept was laid out. We're going to a two-story with all of our schools now. So this requires a much larger and deeper footing and everything. Of course, and this was further then compounded by the adverse soils condition. Am I correct?
In a
What's
nutshell.
what I was understood from previous discussion.
In a nutshell, yes, sir.
And then just for the new commissioners, I want to mention, the reason that you would take that 325 and park it with the secondary is because of how we share funds.
Shared, elementary
With the
funds are
elementary
shared
with
with
the
the
city
city of Murfreesboro.
So you wouldn't want to put that towards this elementary project.
Yeah.
Does the bid with RG on soil, is that going to also include anything in the future on that same site?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And as you can see with the projects where we had funds left over, a lot of times we're able to work with the contractors, especially when we know we hit something like this early on in the project. We try to work with them to recover those costs wherever we can. I can't really remember a specific time that we came up where we had to come ask for any significant additional funds.
Not after we've gone out to bid.
Right, right.
Yeah.
I mean, once it's been underway, I don't remember
No,
any
yeah.
major surprises where
Yeah.
we took the bullet on it.
Yeah.
Am I forgetting something? No.
No, ma'am.
On the large dollar amounts within the site development. Today, Mr. Lee and I, yesterday and today, were answering questions from risk management. That separation, one of the places in which it is used is we report just the construction cost for insuring our property. So that is one area where that separation is actually used. That's something
And on your iPads, the second tab under BOE, the Second Amendment, that's the blue and the yellow that they were talking about, the chart, if you needed to refer back to that.
Well, we do 2 or 3 building program amendments a year unless we have something unexpected happen with a bid opening. Our goal is to stay within budget for each project.
For folks that may be watching on TV, and for those of us that get confused when we started talking millions of dollars, moving around millions of dollars, explain the 15 plus million bucks. Why are you adjusting that right now? Why?
Well, because when we do the initial budget, we put all of the construction and site development in the construction line item. And it's only after we really get into the construction process that we're able to break it out between site and construction. And then we break it into those 2 line items as we...
So you break it into the individual projects at that time?
Or into those individual line items, we split the construction budget.
Okay.
It's in the same project.
If I may,
Yes.
when we bid the project, we have a good idea of what the paving's gonna cost, what the grading's gonna cost, the storm drainage, the site, water, sewer, that kind of thing. But we don't have real hard bid day numbers.
Right.
So when you all fund the project, that site money and the building itself is all in one number.
Right.
Once we've got under contract and we work with the contractor, he gives us a schedule of values. In that schedule of values, they break down each line item, paving, curb, storm, sanitary, because that's how they bill us. Percentage of complete based on the line items. We take everything that's outside the building, and that's what this number is. That's our site development number. And we're able to separate them then. It's still one budget, but by separating the building from the site, when it comes time to insure the building, we're not insuring the site money as well. We're just insuring the building itself. It helps the tax, it helps us on our insurance.
You're not insuring 200 tons of shot rock.
Correct. We're at, what we actually insure is the building itself and not all the paving and all that stuff that goes with it. So that's the main purpose of separating the two.
So what you're saying is fund number 189 is a bunch of money that has not been allocated per
Well-
se, and that's what we're doing now?
It has been allocated to a project. It's just we've had it to combined in a construction budget.
Okay.
But then we split into the two items, construction and site development costs.
I think if you go to the iPad that's got the blue
To the next.
and if you look at Rockville High School, that's the second page.
Right.
You can see it really plain of what we're doing. It's money it's still the same project, and for us, it's an accounting.
Yeah.
So the overall
Yes.
construction budget was $63,584,000, and that's what we had originally. That money is still there, but the actual construction is $56,528, and the site development moves down into a line item in and of itself. It all remains part of the same budget. It's an accounting principle to where those monies are actually going.
Once again, when we have a couple of projects we're working on, it doesn't seem as bad when we've got this number of projects working on. All of a sudden, you're talking about $15 million.
$15 million, yes.
And somebody's out there saying, what are they doing with that $15 million?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
I'm
I-
just-
I'm thinking way back, we tried doing some projects where we put a site development number in the initial budget. Well, by the time we went out to bid, we had to amend it so that it was meaningless almost to have that number depending on the site. I mean, that will vary so by project, depending on land and what we're doing on land. So,
Thank you.
Any more discussion or questions? If not, we're ready to vote.
Commissioner Cook?
Yes.
Commissioner Urban?
Yes.
Commissioner Gammon?
Yes.
Commissioner Gurley?
Yes.
Commissioner Harris?
Yes.
Commissioner Phillips?
Aye.
Commissioner Allen?
Yes.
This is old. Don't look at the date. I don't know what I was thinking. I didn't notice the date until I looked down here. It's not for December 14th of this year. It's last spring's.
Okay.
Yeah, good job.
And primarily on here, what we're currently looking at now, obviously, we've talked about purchasing some land, and we hope that we can have this brought to you sometime late November, possibly early December. And what we currently are looking at are the following: some land on 231 North, and I think Mr. Sandvig has an estimate there of 3.5. I will tell you, as we add this up, we understand it's not the 10.3 that's going to be allocated. So we'll be working with these numbers. These numbers are not hard, obviously. And then we have some land to the south that we're looking at on the south end of there. And we also have some land at we're looking at the 840-96 corridor that we're looking at. And we would, like I said, we'd like to bring this forward sometime here the next month or so.
I have a question. Some of us received a letter about a parcel of property out to the south side of Murfreesboro. Was there any follow-up on that, or?
We've seen, I would have to check, but was it off of 231?
Off of 41,
Off of 41?
out there by
Buchanan.
Buchanan.
Okay, we have, yes, we have followed up, and in fact, there's a call in currently and about that. I think it's somewhere around like 45 acres or something of that nature.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Mhm.
Also, have you done any geo or anything on any of these parcels yet?
We've done some on the 231 North.
And I think a little of
Right,
other testing's been
little
done.
testing's been done. A lot of it, we're running into backlogging on those out there.
Because everybody's building.
Everybody's building.
Yeah, yeah, I was gonna mention that because I just saw, looking at the town of Smyrna's TV channel here last week, I guess it was, that right above my house there, which is right adjoining Stewart's Creek Schools, we're gonna have, within the next couple of 3 years, we're gonna have about 400 and some odd new houses there. That does not count the 500 that's going in out off of Ocala. So that's in that quadrant right there, somewhere in the neighborhood of 950 to 1,000 homes planned, and dirt's being turned and houses are being built on a good portion of that already. It's kind of I think we did wise when we appropriated that money.
I will tell you that land on the western end of the county is pretty expensive.
Yes, it
We're
is.
competing against,
Developers.
residential developers.
Right.
So, we're really, we've been really working hard at it.
Director, are these prices, and work with me if I'm trying to understand, okay, the 4 million for the 840/96 quarter, 4,750,000, is that their asking price?
No, that's an estimate, a lot of that's negotiable depending on what we need. For
So it could be below this?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, when Mr. Clardy and I were putting this together in the spring, well, we're looking at 3 school comp, very, very fluid, having an idea of what was being asked for in some areas, but
Kind of
just
like
very
appraisal?
loose
Is
estimates.
this kind of like an appraisal price?
Not even an appraisal price,
Uh-huh.
just, we
Okay.
didn't have specific parcels narrowed or anything.
And a lot of it's going to be predicated, are we going with 3 schools? Are we going with 2 schools?
Yeah.
Are they going to be an elementary and middle? Are they going to be a middle and high school? You're going to need more acreage, obviously for 3, but you're going to need more acreage for a middle and a high school than you would an elementary and a middle.
And for several of us who were on the commission, previous commission, did go and join
Right.
the board and administration to look at land parcels and so
Right.
on. And you're right. And unfortunately, most of these parcels are not tileable to sewer. So we're looking at
Step systems.
the infamous Rutherford County rock of finding enough dirt
Right.
to put in a step system within that parcel. So I think a lot of fluid things in looking at these parcels as to whether can you find us. You might have enough land for 3 schools, but you may not have enough dirt
That
to
is
support
correct.
a step system for but 2 of those 3.
Right, that's
So-
correct.
There's not a possibility of the price going up.
Is there a possibility? I think there's a strong possibility of land going up. Now, whether, we got 10.3 that we're working with.
What's the average acreage you would like to find?
For 3, and you correct me if I'm wrong, I'm sure you will, okay? For 3 schools, we're talking probably about 140 acres, to have everything that you need. And for about a middle school and an elementary, what do you think, about 85?
It depends on the site, but 60 to 85,
Right.
depending on the site.
Mhm.
And that's why I don't want to say hedging, but we're until we get that site explored, if there's a good dirt seam in it, we could be closer to the 60. If it's in the right location and the price is right, but there's not a lot of dirt there, it may take more acreage for the step system, so we may be encroaching back to that 85.
Right.
What we're hoping to do is do that due diligence and find out what's there before coming back to you all with we've chosen this piece of property, and then we can give you a better definitive number.
I'm sure y'all looking at price per acre.
Right.
Is there an average?
We're anywhere from
It's up now.
We're anywhere from 18.5 in some areas to, up to 35 to 40,
And we also will look at, in looking at that site,
Yeah.
what do we think some of our construction costs will be? We could come across some sites and pay more per acre than you'd think you'd want us to pay, but we will more than save.
Site development.
And
site
infrastructure
that's-
has a lot to do with that.
Yeah.
That's something that we found very interesting in the late spring, early summer tour. While a site like directly on 231 has pretty good access, one of the sites and other sites we looked at has pretty good access. A couple of the other sites, especially to the southeast of Murfreesboro, getting to those sites was a very difficult task, and probably will require a lot of infrastructure improvement. So those are all things that
We're trying to weigh all those scenarios in before we come back and
Right.
say this is the piece that we.
Right.
Can you, I'm just trying to understand this, can you tell me what the soil, the adverse conditions were
Are you talking about?
with RNG bid? I'm just trying to understand how we cannot run into this problem again
On that site or on any site?
on that site.
This particular site, when the project was originally started, we had the elementary on one end and the middle on the other, and we go in and do our site explorations. In other words, we drill holes where we think the building's gonna be to see what's down in the ground. We don't actually see that, we just know whether it's rock or dirt, which is standard construction practice. Then the buildings got flopped. We swapped the elementary in the middle and the location changed based on the site, because at one time we were gonna build the elementary first, so we were gonna build it closest to the structure and then build the roads in the back second with that second school. And then that swapped, which changed the footprint. Then we went from a one-story school to a two-story school. When we went to a two-story school, it shortened the footprint and it also shifted it again. In hindsight, we should have gone back and drilled more holes. We didn't do that, being honest. We thought we had enough holes drilled to get a good visual of what was there. We had done what we've done at every site that since I've been here in the last 12 years, we've done them all the same way. You're always going to find a little pocket somewhere where you think it's good rock or what we call a dirt seam. There's a seam in it that's rock and dirt mix, or it's weathered stone and it's not good building material. We actually hit a seam that was directly under the entire length of the building footprint. Typically, you would find a little pocket, maybe $50,000, $100,000, $200,000. And I'm not being flippant with money, but in order of magnitude, it gets absorbed into the job. We take care of it and we go on. This was the entire footprint. And we had to undercut, because it was a two-story school, which increases your loads, we had to undercut 5.5 feet below the finished grade. It was over 25,000 cubic feet of material. We had to take that material out and haul it off site because we didn't have a place to put it. And then we had to bring back in 25,000 cubic yards of good shot rock material and build a pad. Now that the building pad is built, you run into something small, out in a roadway, which we have, which is fairly typical, $5,000, $10,000. We have an unsuitable soils allowance in our contract. It's usually between $150,000 and $250,000, depending on the size of the job and the site. Where we think it is typical. That's already in our bid. We think we can absorb anything else that we will find in that number that's already in their contract. Had it not been R.G. Anderson, had it been any of the other bidders, would we have encountered the same problem? Yes, sir. Unfortunately, it's just a freak thing that happened and we got caught.
Well, and we have expanded the scope
Yes.
of
Right.
the
Of
testing and
Yes.
as a
Since we've had this
Response
issue,
to this.
we've changed our
Yeah.
policy internally that if we do a boring and, because we think the footprint's gonna be this way, if it changes, we're gonna spend the extra $10,000 to $25,000.
So you took proactive approach to fix
Yes,
this?
sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
We had a long discussion over it.
yeah.
Yes, sir. Numerous discussions, yes.
Yeah, and if you're familiar with the existing school that's there now, Rocky Fork Middle, it is on solid rock.
Yes, sir.
So I think it was really and truly pretty much a surprise.
And then, Mr. Sproul, on the 10.3 that we had already approved, is it 9 schools that we hope to get for that, or is it 8?
I think it was closer to.
I think more. I think we were talking 2, 3, and 3 possibly.
Right.
Yeah.
But more than likely 2, 3, and 2 to 3.
So 7
Yeah,
schools?
it's between 7 and maybe 7, maybe 8.
Yeah.
All the more reason, though, to buy that land now,
Mhm.
because the price is for sure not going down.
I'm worried about them going up because of
Right.
developing right now is short. Did you agree with that?
We've looked at.
Developers are,
Yeah, we've looked at.
I mean, I think they're gonna be competing with you more than
Oh,
anything.
yes.
Well, we've
Oh,
looked
yes.
at sites, quite frankly, that the prep work on, would be, wouldn't be very difficult, but it was way out of our price range.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've already voted on the reports, so there's nothing to be voted on, but this is just kind of an open dialogue, open discussion. Any questions y'all have for Mr. Spurlock, anything you wanted to talk to them about?
Lisa, you may help with this, but of this spreadsheet that we have, what projects have we approved?
Blue.
Blue,
Yeah,
we've
Jim,
al-
pretty
blue
good
we've
at-
already done.
Funded.
Funded. And the yellowy, whatever at the top, are,
So
that is a completed project.
when are you going to come to us asking for money, and which of these lines?
Okay, what we're going to do, funny you'd ask that, we sat down today as a staff and we've prepared this, but it'll go to our board first for approval, and then we'll bring it to you.
Which? To point the dollars out that you're going to be,
Well, you want to do that?
Well,
I think.
It's very,
Yeah.
it's early. The board ultimately
Right,
will
will
act
make
on Mr.
decisions.
Spurlock's
Right.
recommendation. But we discussed in staff this
Right.
next elementary school. We
Right.
think that's
That's going to be
high
a
priority
decision
for
that
us.
we'll have to make. One of the things we're looking at is we've looked at the increased enrollment in 3 elementary schools in the south
when we're talking soon, we're talking
within the next.
We have a meeting November 5th.
5th, right.
So y'all will be coming back to us the first of the year?
So it would be
Or
like
in
an opening
November.
of, not 19, but 20?
That's
Right.
That's
Yes.
We may be
Yes.
coming in
Yes.
November for land if we
Right.
can get the testing done.
So what you're wanting is this elementary school that's called Elementary Southside Murfreesboro? Is
Well,
that
let me
it?
just say, that's what we've discussed. Now, the
Yeah.
board will make that decision, but that will be, what will be discussed, and that could be one of the possibilities, yes.
And that was high on our priority
Priority
list
list,
last
right.
year.
Mhm.
So, yeah, we're kind of thinking it will stay high on our
Right.
list, but, yeah.
It's the only school that you've got ASAP beside. The others are just land.
Well, this is last
Yeah.
spring's version, so,
Yeah.
right.
I don't think, have we seen yet this year enrollment numbers?
We have
Yeah,
talked
well,
about them, but, yeah.
We're currently sitting at 46,597, I think it
Yeah.
is. We've
Excluding
increased about
preschool.
1,000, a
Yeah.
little over 1,000.
I think 1,031 was the last.
Something like
thing
that,
we
yeah,
did.
it's something, I agree with, it's something like that, but it's 40, it's preschool and through 12, but it's 40, almost 46.7 or something like that. Yeah,
And the last few years, our biggest bump had been in high school, and this year it's in middle school.
it's in middle school, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, with this said, the next question is, while we're not looking at the middle school, because we're looking at doing some rezoning perhaps, and we've got to discuss with our
Well, you're
board.
gonna have 2 schools open, so you're gonna have to.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah.
which will impact several middle schools. It'll be one of, if this goes this way, we'll be rezoning several middle schools.
Well, and I'm glad you brought that up, because I want to make sure that this committee knows about your meeting on Thursday, if you want to talk
Mm-hmm. Right.
about that.
We have a meeting on Thursday at 6:30 at Blackman High School. We'll be discussing the rezoning for Rockville High School and Rocky Fork Elementary.
So both schools will be on the agenda to talk about.
Thursday, 6:30, Blackman.
Blackman. And we'll be having 2 additional meetings like that through the county
Okay.
before we come back. And
Some of us
these-
have property management, some of them did over there.
We'll have some more. We've got one at Siegel, one at Stewart's Creek.
But it's also, it's at 6:30, so depending
Right.
on how long property
Mhm.
management goes, you might, yeah.
You know what date the Stewart's Creek one is?
I don't, we'll get it to you though.
Appreciate it.
Mhm.
And then if you can also get to this group, the enrollment by school, and Jeff knows what report I'm talking about. We've seen it every year. It's always been
Student summary
helpful to see.
report. We
Yeah,
can
that's
get
it,
that.
yeah. If you can do that, that's always
Yeah.
really helpful to see.
Right.
That way, it kind of helps us
Yeah, we can do that.
help you track, you know, where they're at. Will the city opening their new elementary schools, you think that's gonna
That's
take any?
the million-dollar question.
Yeah.
It could perhaps maybe help a little bit with Barfield, perhaps, maybe. But a lot of this won't be predicated on, how that works. They'll be
Right.
relieving some of
Their
Overall
own-
Creek.
yeah. Their own overcrowding, like we do.
Right.
The
Mhm.
schools are full almost as soon as you open them, so.
I know this, I know you'll have to guess on this, but when do you think we'll have to build another high school?
We talked about that today. Was it 2023 or something like that?
Yeah.
That's just all, it's just
Yeah.
a projection now.
Yeah, 2 years out, we can be pretty accurate, but
Right.
we can have such shifts.
Mhm.
We've had really a fairly sustained period where our highest growth has been middle school and high school.
Right.
Yeah, we've grown a lot of elementary
Mhm.
students, but our higher percentage
Right.
has noticeably been in those higher grade levels.
2023, that's 5 years out. Is that what you're talking about as far as the next high
That's
school?
an estimate, that's an
Yeah.
estimate. You know, a lot of it's going to be dictated on, we expect the growth to hit us perhaps down in the western end with Stewart's Creek and Blackman, because we're currently sitting with 1,498 kids at Blackman Middle School. And Blackman High School will be reduced somewhat when we do this rezoning, but it won't take long for it to get back up, maybe 5 years.
So what you're talking about is that, like that Amaville project that we talked about a few years ago, that's where you're looking at the next high school?
We haven't.
We haven't even, it's just anticipation. It could be, I mean.
We'll have to look at where the growth
Is that what this
going.
is though, high school,
Or
840, 96
right,
quarter?
mhm,
Or
right.
it could
Or
turn
be
into
middle
Christiana?
Buchanan, yeah.
It could be anyway.
Yeah,
Right.
just when we look at it, we can have a pretty good idea what our high school numbers are going to be if growth continues,
Right.
or our middle school. But where it's going to be, we're seeing growth in multiple parts of the county, which makes it harder to plan.
And what we don't know is, well, I mentioned a minute ago that we were probably in the next few years are going to have 700-800 houses built
Yeah. Mhm.
within 3 miles or so
And that's
of
the
my
reason I
property.
mentioned that
What we
area.
don't know is the demographics of it.
Right,
Are these going to be
right.
younger folks with elementary kids
Mhm.
or middle school kids? Or are these going to be people a little bit older with
Right.
high schoolers, you know?
Yeah.
So you don't
Really?
yet
Mhm.
know,
No.
even though you
Yeah.
know there's going to be people there with
That would be good to
children,
know, but
we don't know
that, right?
Yeah.
the age groups of those children.
But have you approved for them houses to be built?
I haven't approved anything that's town of Smyrna has, because they're annexing as fast as they can out there.
So they'll tell you what price range those houses will be in?
They'll be in the 225 to 250 range.
Actually, I just priced some of them the other day. A lot of those are going anywhere 260 to on up into the threes.
Depends on which.
But a lot of them are in the mid twos, mid to upper twos.
The problem we're having right now is in years past, our growth has been kind of around it. You know, it moved from one zone to another zone to another zone. It just kind of went in this circle. The problem we have right now, it's everywhere. It's completely surrounded us. It's
Yeah.
on 96 at Oakland. It's on 840 around Blackman. It's in the Stewart's Creek zone.
231
There's
South.
Yeah.
231 South, Christiana, Rockville. It's every time I drive from one school to another, there's 2 or 3 new developments and they're knocking trees down. And the thing that really hurts and makes it really hard is the apartment complexes, because they load up
Yeah.
a centralized. You can put 700 apartments where 700 homes may take 2, 3, 4 years for that development to get built out. You drop in 700 apartments and they're open
Immediately.
and full within about 6 months when they start opening them, and it's just killing us.
So it's not necessarily that generates more students, it's just more students all at once.
All at once,
Yes.
right.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
and they're very centralized.
You guys, I don't mean to tell you how to run your business, but you need to take a serious look at Christiana. Serious look. The planning
We are.
department, I don't know where you're getting that information, but has approved hundreds of new homes on 231.
Yeah,
that's right.
Hundreds. So that place is exploding, and I continue to be afraid that we keep building all of these high schools down in that end of the county and nothing out here. Sooner or later, you're going to say, well,
Yeah.
and
You know, we got to keep it all in mind as we do that. Of course, we also, you know, when we put a school, what we try to do as best as possible is where it impacts more than one school. So we've got Rockville on 99, we've got Riverdale there on Warrior Drive. You know, there's some things that we can do as far as rezoning if it gets it, because we look at our maps where our zone lines are intersecting.
I know you guys know your business, but I know where the county's growing.
Yeah.
I help approve those homes every month, okay?
Yeah.
And if you guys not taking a hard look at Barfield and the Christiana area, you're overlooking
Yeah.
something that probably
Yeah.
gonna bite you in the butt here in a couple of
Yeah.
years, so need to take a real serious look at
Christiana
that.
property that we're looking at is a three school,
Three school, right.
2 to 3 school site.
Okay.
And we got
More than likely 3.
there.
Mhm.
So that's why we're saying there, or that, it says 840, but it could very realistically be that it's not 840, it's Christiana. But that's why we're looking at the property in both places.
Well, and I'll dovetail something that Jeff had mentioned in previous meetings, which is we also want you looking at the road system.
Right.
And we want to make sure that even whether you're making the improvement at that time or we borrow that money
Right.
and have the road department working on those roads, we need to make sure that we don't run into the same situation that we've had at Rocky Fork.
We got a
which is-
good answer to the question last
We
night.
did get a
though.
good answer to that question. Yeah, yeah. They're
Yeah.
making some improvements out there,
Yeah.
so. With letting bids by the end of the year, is that what they said?
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, if I had a do-over, I can't tell you how many times I wish I had a do-over
Right.
on Rocky Fork Road and making sure we had that road ready.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you so much for this information. If there's no more questions,
you,
we'll
guys.
entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
So moved.